6 most scariest space anomalies ever. Let's go. The Great Attractor. You are moving through space right now. Not slowly, not gently. You, the Earth, the Sun, and the entire Milky Way are being pulled towards something massive, something invisible. Scientists call it the Great Attractor. The terrifying part isn't that it exists, it's that we cannot see it. This force is so strong that entire clusters of galaxies are drifting toward it at millions of kilometers per hour. And yet, when telescopes point in that direction, there is almost nothing. No giant glowing object. No obvious structure. Just gravity. Immense gravity. You can't see it because it sits behind thick clouds of dust at the center of the Milky Way, blocking our view. But even without seeing it, the pull is undeniable. Imagine feeling your body being dragged somewhere, but you're never allowed to see what's pulling you. That's what's happening to your galaxy. And whatever is there, it's big enough to move everything you know. The Boots Void. Now imagine the opposite. Not something pulling you in, but something missing. You are being pulled into a region where almost nothing is there at all. Astronomers call this place Boots Void, and it is one of the strangest structures ever found in the universe. When it was first identified, researchers were confused, not because they saw something unusual, but because they saw nothing. It's almost empty. This region of space stretches close to 1 billion light-years across, making it one of the largest known empty areas in the observable universe. Inside it, there are very few galaxies, very few stars, and long distances where there is no visible structure at all. On large scales, the universe usually arranges matter in a kind of cosmic web, with clusters, filaments, and gaps known as voids. Voids are normal, but this one, specifically, is extreme. It is far emptier than models predicted, and that is why it still raises questions decades after its discovery. According to current theories, matter after the Big Bang should not have left behind a region this large and this empty. If you were placed somewhere inside the Boots Void, you could travel for hundreds of millions of years and pass almost nothing recognizable. No dense galaxy groups, no bright clusters, only distant points of light far beyond the edges. Astronomers have found a small number of isolated galaxies inside it, but they are rare and widely separated, more like exceptions than a pattern. The void does not break the laws of physics, but it pushes them to their limits. It forces scientists to ask whether our models of how matter spreads through space are complete, or whether something important is still missing from the picture. Instead of showing us what the universe contains, the Boots Void is powerful because of what it lacks, and that absence continues to shape how we understand the structure of everything around us. The wow signal. On the 15th of August 1977, Jerry Emmon was doing routine work. He was sitting at Ohio State University, going through long stacks of computer printouts from the Big Ear radio telescope. The telescope had already done its job days earlier. Eamon's task was to review the data and look for anything unusual. Most of the pages showed the same things, such as background noise from space, random signals, basically nothing strange or unusual. But then suddenly, one line caught his attention. A signal suddenly jumped out from the page. It was much stronger than the surrounding noise and clearly stood out on its own. When Eamon looked closer, he noticed something else. The signal was narrow, locked into a specific frequency instead of spreading out. And that actually mattered, because most natural signals from space don't behave that way at all. What's more mysterious is that the timing made it even stranger. The signal lasted exactly 72 seconds. Big Ear radio didn't track objects, it stayed fixed while Earth rotated. If a real signal from deep space passed overhead, it would slowly rise, peak, and fade as the planet turned. 72 seconds was exactly what scientists expected for that kind of signal. The signal didn't flicker or jump, it behaved cleanly, but then it stopped completely. Eamon checked for mistakes. Equipment failure didn't explain it. Interference didn't fit either. The frequency was close to 1 linked to hydrogen, suggesting artificial intelligence or extraterrestrial origin, something SETI researchers had already talked about for years. Surprised, Eamon circled the numbers and wrote one word next to them: Wow. After that, scientists tried to find the signal again. They pointed telescopes back to the same part of the sky, over and over. Nothing ever came back. The signal never repeated. That single event became known as the wow signal, not because of what it proved, but because of how clearly it appeared once and then vanished. Almost 50 years later, it's still one of the most confusing signals ever recorded, simply because it behaved like something real and then it was gone. Dark flow. You probably know that the universe is expanding evenly in every direction, right? Galaxies are moving away from each other because space itself is stretching. And scientists expect that expansion to look pretty even in all directions. But what if it isn't? What if large parts of the universe are moving in the same direction for no clear reason? Here's the weird part: when researchers looked at some of the farthest galaxy clusters they can see, they noticed something that just didn't fit the scenario. These galaxies weren't just spreading out. A bunch of them seemed to be drifting in the same direction, like they were being pulled by something huge. This wasn't just a small area. We're talking about galaxies billions of light years apart, all moving the same way. And this, my friend, is what scientists call dark flow. The confusing part is that there's nothing visible causing it. No giant object, no massive galaxy cluster, no explanation that works with our current science. Even dark matter, which we still don't fully understand, doesn't seem to be enough. According to the physics we use now, there shouldn't be anything strong enough to line up motion across such huge distances. So, what could be pulling all that stuff? One theory is that something outside the part of the universe we can see might be tugging on everything. But since we can't observe beyond that edge, we just don't know. That's why dark flow is such a big deal, not because we understand it, but because we don't. Fast radio bursts. Sometimes, space does something strange. Out of nowhere, it sends a powerful burst of energy, short, clean, and unbelievably strong. These are called fast radio bursts, or FRBs. They last just a few milliseconds, but in that blink, they release more energy than our sun gives off in several days. They come from deep space, way outside our galaxy. We don't know exactly where. They just show up in our data, without warning. Most FRBs only happen once. Some have repeated, but not in any predictable way. It's like getting a knock on the door, and when you open it, no one's there, and it doesn't happen again. Scientists have some ideas. Maybe they're coming from neutron stars, the dense, collapsed cores left behind after a star explodes. Or maybe they're from magnetars, which are even stranger. But nothing has fully explained why these bursts are so sharp, so precise, and yet so random. When one hits Earth, it's the brightest radio signal in the sky for a fraction of a second. Then it's gone. Just silence again. By the time we detect it, whatever made it is already billions of light years away. We don't know why they happen, and that's what makes them hard to forget. Something out there is sending these signals. They don't last, they don't repeat, and for now, they don't explain themselves. The Fermi paradox. You've probably looked up at the night sky and wondered, with all those stars out there, where is everyone? Why don't we see signs of other life? That's the question at the heart of something called the Fermi paradox. The idea is simple. The universe is incredibly old and incredibly big. There are more stars in the sky than grains of sand on Earth. Many of them have planets. Some of those planets should have the right conditions for life. And given how long the universe has existed, some life out there should have had enough time to become intelligent, build technology, and spread. But when we look out into space, we see nothing. No signals, no probes, no visitors, nothing at all. One of the more unsettling ideas is that maybe intelligent life does appear, but doesn't last. Maybe civilizations destroy themselves before they ever get the chance to explore. And if that's true, the silence we hear might not be peaceful. It might be a warning. And that's all for today, guys. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for more interesting discoveries in the future.